Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Keeping It Real with Viola. I hope you had a great week. I hope your week was satisfying to you. Can you recall one thing you did that made you feel extra special or proud of yourself this week? What is that one thing? Are you still sticking with the goals you may have established in the new year? I know some of you may say, now that's a laugh. But anyway, there's a saying, a new year, a new you. And that's not reality for everybody. It may be a new year, but if you continue with your same old ways, still having those same thoughts, same old mindset, you will be the same old you. So it takes more than just saying a new year, a new you. There has to be action. We have to do something to make that new become manifested in your life. In other words, becoming new takes a lot of work on your behalf. I have to make some major changes in my life in order to become new, because action speaks louder than words. How many times have we heard action speak louder than words? Well, it's the truth. It takes true commitment, it takes discipline and consistency to see results in your life. We talk a good game, but we never take the steps necessary to become successful, to become healthy, happy, or better. Yeah, we have to work on things in our life to help us become new or to become who we want to be. We compare ourselves to others and get jealous over what people may have and how they've made it in life. But those people made choices. They took the high road. They decided to discipline themselves. They decided to do what it was necessary for them to change. So, yeah, we want a new you. We have to begin to practice new ways of living and thinking and being. In my first episode, I promised that I would share a little bit about my story and how, my life was almost destroyed with drugs and alcohol and, partying and just being wild. So I hope my story can bring some hope and inspiration to someone that may feel that they still stuck in life. Maybe you're addicted. Maybe you have problems with unhealthy relationships, or you may feel like you're still stuck in your past. That's my goal. And as I stated in the last episode, that's my purpose, is to help people to come out of past trauma and things that may have caused you to become stuck in your life. I can relate to, all of those things. I've been there and I've done that. So that's why I feel like keeping it real will help those that want to be helped. Let's just put it that way. We have to want to change. I have to want to be different, because I'm the only one that can truly make that decision. I'm the one that will have to take the steps to do it. So this is for people that really want to change in their life. So growing up, I'll just get started. Growing up, I was, I was what you would call buck wild. I was full of rebellion and did what I wanted to do. I started drinking and smoking cigarettes at the age of 9 years old. Yeah, I would hang around family members that drank on the weekends and partied, and I would sneak those vodka bottles out of the kitchen and drank some of it and put water back in there. I would pour water in there so they wouldn't really notice that the liquor was, being taken. And, I did it for years. I snuck around, at a young age, being exposed to it. And I, began to just tamper with stuff that I shouldn't have. And it became a lifestyle for me. And, it helped me to get through some of the challenges in life, like, being bullied in school and things like that. I just did it. And next thing you know, I was stuck in a rut. I started smoking cigarettes and stealing cigarettes out of my parents' packs and things like that, being curious. And it ended up taking me down the road of just destruction. And I did not realize the damage and destruction I was, headed for in my life. At the age of 15, I started smoking marijuana. I loved how it made me feel and laugh. I was able to escape from reality, in other words, and it would make me feel like, I was happy around other people. And it started me on a road to just hanging out with people that love smoking and drinking too. So that became my lifestyle. I still went to school. I was smart. I was an A student in school. I did those things, but I had that little dark side that my parents really didn't know about. And I used to drink when I was in school. All throughout my high school years, I drank. I did that for a while, and then, I got introduced to crack a little later in life. In my late 20s, I had got my own place, moved out of my parents' house. Really wasn't doing much with my life as far as a career or anything, because I was so preoccupied with smoking weed, going to the bars and partying. So I didn't really do much in life, but I did get a place. I was on government assistance at that time, and I just partied all the time, to be honest with you. I really didn't do anything productive with my life. And I can't blame anybody for where my life ended up, because nobody stuck a gun to my head. I decided to do it. I chose to, use the drugs. Even though I was influenced, I still chose to pick those drugs up. So I was accountable for where I ended up in life. But yeah, so I ended up getting introduced to crack, and that's where it seemed like my life just began to spiral out of control. I ended up, to make a long story short, I ended up in prison. I was pregnant, and I had my baby there. My life was a mess. It really, took a turn for the worse. So I ended up accepting Christ into my life once I got locked up, and turned my life around and just started to my road to recovery. I went back to college after getting out of prison. I did 6 months, and I got out, and all I could think about was, making sure I turn my life around and get connected to people that I know wasn't using anymore. I had to, let go of those old people and places and things. And I did that. I started going to church and hanging around sober people and learning to discipline myself and wanting to do better for my 2 children that I had, my 2 daughters. I did it. It wasn't easy. It was a struggle, but I wanted it. I wanted to change, and that made the difference, because if you don't want it, it's not going to happen for you. And I can't just want it. I got to take the steps that I need to change in my life. So, I did that. I went to church, and like I said, I went back to college at the age of 30. And I continued to work on those internal issues that caused me to feel shameful and unloved and devalued in life. I had to learn to like the person I was looking at in that mirror, because I had hated who I had become years earlier. I hated to look in the mirror. I just didn't like who I was. I was disgusted with who I had become because of the things I had done in my life, and because of the hurt and, thing and neglect I, had for my oldest daughter. I wasn't there for her. And all those things began to come up in my life, and I'm going to stop and say, I know a lot of people, you deal with that now. You feel like you're worth nothing because you may have struggled or may have neglected children, or felt like you let people down that really love you. But life goes on. You can always pick yourself back up and move on from that. You can't change what happened in your past, but you can learn from it. I can pick myself up and keep moving in the right direction. I can let that be something that catapults me into a better life. My past can help me to be a better person if I would look at it in that perspective versus allowing it to hold me captive. So I committed my life to Christ, and I started going to church, and like I said, surrounding myself with people that could help me and challenge me to change. And that has been 30 years ago. And that's just a brief synopsis of, my story and my history and where I come from, because I'm not ashamed of where I come from. I use my story to try to help others that's stuck and still there. And like I said, it took me years to work through some of those issues I struggled with growing up. My self-esteem was very low. And it was low years after I got clean and sober, but I knew I could not mask it or hide from it. I had to confront it to find out, why is my self-esteem so low? And I thought back of how I was bullied in school and felt rejected and, called names that really hurt me and stuck with me throughout my life. And I turned bitter from that. I hated people because of that. I was scared to be around people because I didn't want to be called names and bullied. So I took the route of getting high to hide behind that. And it almost destroyed my life. And the problem still was there because when I wasn't high, I still felt that hurt and, anger and bitterness because of being bullied and things of that nature. So I had to really, first of all, surrender my way of trying to handle it, my destructive lifestyle, and I had to become whole by allowing myself to heal. So you have to make, that decision in order to start your journey to a new way of life. I have to decide that I want different. I have to decide that I'm not going to live in bondage anymore. And you can do it. If I can do it, and trust me, that's just a piece of what I've been through in my life. You can too. But, life goes on now. I'm established in life. I'm single at 30 years of sobriety and being clean and sober. And I'm okay with that. I'm content in my life. I'm, productive. I stay busy with working and my passion, which is to help others. That's why I work in the field of addiction. I got my degrees and, I love what I do, and it keeps me busy. I just want people to really see that they can come out of that addiction, because so many of people are dying and losing their life behind drugs, and they're so young, and it's so hurtful to see. And these parents losing their children and having to raise their grandbabies behind it. It's just sad. And so, I just want to put it out there that you can change. There's hope for you. I've written 2 books. I mentioned that in my last podcast as well, that I did write 2 books. And one of them is called Living a Transformed Life. And this one is about how my life was changed from darkness into light. It's how God transformed my life and made me who I am today. I have to always give the credit back to who I feel helped me through all of this, and that's the God that I choose to call Jesus. He the one helped me to be who I am today. So that's why I always reverted back to God. He delivered me and helped me. And the thing about it, though, whether you serving God or not, you still have to make a choice. We have to choose to do what we know we need to do, because whether God is in my life or not, I still have to choose to change. I still have to choose to do what I know is right. And you will have to do that as well. So that's why I said keeping it real is something where I'm going to do just that. I'm going to keep it real. I'm going to be transparent with you. I'm not going to cut corners, because that's not going to help you to change. So I have that first book that I've written. That was 2 years ago, and it's talked about, how I overcame life struggles. And I start from when I was young and up till, I became licensed and working in the field of addiction that I'm in now. And just the end of last year, I wrote my second book called Shatter to Chatter, Letting Go of Your Past. And that's talking about how we can move on from our past and how we have to change the way we think. Our mindset has to change. And in different podcasts, I'll begin to, talk and elaborate on things like that to give you tools, because it's so easy to say, oh, we need to change. You need to do better in your life. But how? How can I do that? Show me. Give me some kind of roadmap on how to do those things. And that's why I am creating this podcast, to try to give you those tools that help me. I thank God for the people that supported me along my journey and gave me straight up facts of what I needed to do in order to change. They didn't play around with me back in the day. And, we got too many people walking on eggshells because they scared to hurt people's feelings, and I don't want them to be mad at me. I don't care about all that. I want your life to be different. And if I can help 1 or 2 people do that, that's my goal. We have to tell the truth and let people decide for themselves if they want to accept it, but we need to be able to do that. So that's my little speech for the day. I hope somebody was inspired by it. And like I said, you can go on Amazon.com and purchase either one of those books that I mentioned, Shatter to Chatter or Living a Transformed Life. Both of them are on Amazon or wherever books are sold. So yeah, and that way you can get a better understanding and more detail on who I am and my life journey and what I have to offer. So at the end of the day, it's all going to boil down to, how bad you want it in life. Because no matter what nobody say, until my mind is ready to make that change, I'm not going to do it. I can hear all this stuff, but it won't matter to me if I'm not willing to humble myself and change and stop using my past and people and things that happened to me as an excuse to not change. So I hope someone was inspired, uplifted, impacted in some way on this podcast today. I hope you get the courage to change your life and take off that mask you're wearing. I hope you find true happiness in life. And it's going to start with you making that conscious decision to make the necessary changes. Until the next time, keep it real and you will heal. Have a good day. Bye-bye.